of the story, we see a highly secured prison transport train. A dangerous criminal from Somalia is being transported to a remote desert prison in the United States. However, before the train can reach its destination, a deadly assassin squad from the Expendables team suddenly arrives in a helicopter from the sky. The squad begins taking out the soldiers stationed on top of the train one by one. Seeing this, the soldiers inside prepare their most powerful weapon to shoot down the helicopter. As soon as a soldier emerges with the weapon, he starts firing relentlessly at the helicopter, but the Expendables squad quickly maneuvers their helicopter below the train tracks, avoiding the attack. Within moments, the machine gun shooter and all the soldiers positioned on top of the train are eliminated. The soldiers crash into a steel wire that had already been stretched across the railway line, and all of them are wiped out in a single instant. Seeing this, the Expendables squad immediately boards the train. They eliminate all the guards and free the high-profile prisoner. Looking at this prisoner, anyone can tell that he is an extremely dangerous individual. After freeing him, a bald assassin tells him, "Just go up quietly and get into the helicopter." But the madman refuses to listen. Instead, he runs toward the train's engine. Along the way, he kills every guard he encounters using their own knives. After taking them all out, he enters the engine room and pushes the train to full speed. Meanwhile, the guards outside the prison notice the train racing toward them at tremendous speed and begin firing at it. At the same time, the madman starts shooting back with the machine gun mounted at the front of the train. In the end, he jumps into the helicopter, and the train crashes straight through the prison gates. The impact is so devastating that the entire prison is left in ruins. Afterward, the team takes the prisoner to an abandoned airport. By now, you may be wondering who this man is and why they went through so much trouble to rescue him. His name is Black Panther, and he was freed because the team is about to undertake a terrifying mission. To carry out this operation, they need highly intelligent and dangerous criminals like him. The team then departs from the abandoned airport. Inside the plane, we see an assassin named Rob staring suspiciously at Black Panther while holding a knife. Black Panther suddenly says, "We're going on a mission, right? Let me borrow your knife. I want to shave my beard. I need to look handsome before the mission." Rob hands him the knife, and Black Panther casually starts shaving his beard with it. Watching from the cockpit, the bald assassin asks the team leader, "What kind of crazy man are we taking on this mission?" The leader replies, "Don't worry. This madman used to be my teammate. He's incredibly strong and sharp-minded. He'll be our greatest weapon in the mission ahead. Just make sure you keep your distance from him." The next morning, we arrive at a massive port in Somalia, known as Mogadishu Port. Numerous large ships loaded with thousands of containers are docked there. Hidden inside these containers is a large-scale weapons smuggling operation. Through this port, deadly weapons are being shipped to various countries around the world to fuel civil wars and destruction, ensuring that the arms trade continues to thrive. And this is exactly the next mission for the Expendables team. By morning, the team has also reached the port, where they begin their operation. Waiting to pick them up is an Expendables member named Ipo. Showing off a deadly machine gun, he proudly says, "This is the king of all guns. It can fire 2,000 rounds in just 5 seconds. If any of you want one, let me know." The other team members laugh and reply, "No thanks, brother. Our own weapons are good enough." After finishing his speech, the team heads toward the port. As soon as they arrive, they quietly infiltrate the area and begin eliminating the guards one by one. They carry out the operation so stealthily that no one has the slightest idea of what is happening. After taking out all the frontline guards, Black Panther is sent in to show his skills. As soon as he receives the order, he sneaks past the security guards and starts moving toward a crane. Watching him leap around like a monkey, anyone might joke that humans really did evolve from monkeys. Within a short time, he starts taking out the guards stationed on the crane one after another. Since Black Panther's appearance resembles that of a Somali pirate, most of the guards assume he is one of their own men. He then enters the crane's control room and quietly eliminates the operator. Taking control of the crane, he moves a large shipping container toward his teammates so they can climb inside it. The team's strategy is to use the container to reach the enemy's main location without being noticed. According to the plan, they successfully arrive at the enemy's central area completely undetected. Just then, a helicopter lands nearby. This is the real mastermind behind the entire operation, a man named Matrix. The moment the Expendables leader sees Matrix, his blood begins to boil with anger. Without thinking, he jumps out of the container and opens fire on the mafias gathered there. At that very moment, the entire mission starts falling apart. A fierce battle erupts between the team and the enemy forces. The surprise attack catches the enemies off guard, leaving them unable to find proper cover or escape. As a result, many militants are killed. Meanwhile, Ipo continuously provides covering fire with his machine gun. Before long, the team wipes out all the pirates in the area. The assassins believe they have almost cleared the battlefield, but militants keep appearing from seemingly nowhere. Somehow, the Expendables team manages to handle them as well, and escapes using the enemy's own vehicles. During the escape, the bold team member keeps asking the leader, "Why did you do that? Our entire mission has been ruined for no reason." The leader replies, "If we make it out of here alive, I'll explain everything." While they are talking, hundreds more militants arrive in buses and vehicles, opening fire on them from all directions. actions. It becomes clear that the team is trapped in a serious crisis. They came expecting to be heroes, but now they are struggling just to survive. Realizing the situation, the team decides to put the mission on hold and escape before they are all killed. The leader orders the remaining members to board a speedboat because there are now far too many militants to fight. After witnessing these scenes, it becomes obvious just how dangerous these pirates are. Following the leader's orders, Ippo somehow manages to fly his aircraft and land it near the team. However, the enemies have no intention of letting them go. They begin firing everything they have, RPGs, machine guns, and other heavy weapons, at the fleeing team. Seeing the overwhelming enemy firepower, the assassin squad realizes that if things continue like this, their chances of survival are rapidly disappearing. The team realizes that the enemy is never going to stop chasing them, so the assassins finally decide to stand their ground and fight back. As soon as they stop their vehicle, they open heavy fire on the pursuing pirates. They manage to eliminate the attackers coming from the front, but strangely, the remaining pirates seem to disappear. Maybe they went off somewhere for a drink. Jokes aside, after taking down the enemies, the exhausted team is just about to catch its breath when the real mastermind of the game, Matrix, appears in a helicopter and shoots Hippo with a sniper rifle. When Matrix sees the team trying to escape with Hippo, he immediately launches a missile at them. Seeing the incoming missile, the bald assassin shouts for everyone to take cover. However, with an injured teammate and almost no time to react, there is very little they can do. The missile lands right beside them, causing a massive explosion. The entire area is devastated by the blast. Fortunately, because they fall into the water, the team somehow survives. However, Ippo's condition continues to worsen. The team desperately tries to stop his bleeding and quickly loads him onto a plane. They leave immediately because, without urgent medical treatment, Ippo is unlikely to survive. As they fly away, the entire team silently blames Captain Bob for the mission's disastrous failure. Everyone is asking the same question. Why did Bob completely lose control the moment he saw Matrix? If Bob had not launched that reckless attack in anger, the mission might have succeeded, and Hippo would not be fighting for his life. The truth is that the rivalry between Matrix and Bob goes back many years. There was a time when Matrix himself was the most dangerous and trusted member of the Expendables team, but something happened that transformed the man who was once their greatest weapon into their greatest threat. The newer assassins on the team know very little about Matrix's past, but the truth is far darker than they realize. The scene then shifts to a hospital, where Hippo is struggling to stay alive. Seeing Hippo in such terrible condition, Bob gathers his teammates and tells them clearly, "From today onward, there will be no more missions with me. I don't want any of you dying one by one because of my mistakes. Whatever needs to be done, I'll do it alone." After saying goodbye, Bob prepares to leave the hospital. At that moment, his old friend Mark approaches him and asks who is responsible for Hippo's condition. Bob replies with a single name, Matrix. Hearing this, Mark is stunned. According to them, Matrix had been killed 6 years ago. How could he possibly still be alive? The truth is that even Bob cannot understand how Matrix survived. To understand the situation better, we need to look at Matrix's history. As mentioned earlier, Matrix was once the most intelligent and dangerous member of the Expendables team. During a mission, however, he became consumed by greed, money, and fame. He betrayed his own teammates, lured them into a deadly trap, and abandoned them to die while he escaped. Matrix was convinced that none of the Expendables had survived that day. But when he later discovered that Bob and the others had somehow escaped death, he went into hiding out of fear. After disappearing, Matrix joined forces with Somali pirates and began building a terrifying criminal empire. Over the next 6 years, he created such a powerful network that even major mafia organizations were afraid to challenge him. To strengthen his security, he also hired and financed several extremely dangerous military gangs. By this point, Matrix was no ordinary crime boss. He had become one of the most powerful criminal figures in the region. Back outside the hospital, the bald assassin stops Bob and says, "You can't just leave us behind. And besides, you can't fight those lunatics alone." But Bob responds, "I've already made my decision. There's nothing left to discuss." With that, Bob sets off to meet his old companion George. Bob arrives to meet George and says, "I need some new and capable assassins. I'm putting together a new team." After hearing this, George introduces Bob to several highly skilled fighters. Bob carefully evaluates them and selects 4 strong, intelligent recruits. George then introduces him to a young woman named Kitty. Bob jokingly responds, "Come on, I'm not in the mood for that today. Don't waste my time showing me pretty girls." However, a group of troublemakers soon arrives and starts causing problems. That is when Kitty reveals her true abilities. By herself, she takes down all of them with incredible speed and skill. After witnessing this, Bob is thoroughly impressed and decides to recruit her as well. Once the team is assembled, George asks Bob one final question before the mission. "Why are you so determined to kill Matrix?" In response, Bob hands him a file. As George looks through the photographs, another horrifying side of Matrix's activities is revealed. Besides supplying weapons around the world, Matrix has been responsible for brutal massacres in parts of Africa. His ultimate goal is to build a vast empire across the continent, and he continues to take innocent lives to achieve it. Bob knows that if Matrix is not stopped soon, he could plunge large parts of Africa into chaos and destruction. For this reason, the team prepares to leave on the mission the very next morning. But just as they are about to depart, Bob's former assassin team suddenly arrives. They are furious because Bob lied to them and secretly formed a new team. They believe he has replaced them and is planning to undertake the dangerous mission without them. In reality, Bob has a very important reason for keeping them away from the operation, a reason that will become clear later. With that, Bob and his new team set off on their mission. Upon reaching the target area, they descend using aerial insertion techniques. Once on the ground, they begin planning how to eliminate Matrix. The team spends its time discussing the best way to infiltrate Matrix's heavily secured headquarters. They carefully evaluate every possible entry point and conduct detailed surveillance of the building. They observe when Matrix enters, when he leaves, and how security operates throughout the complex. After 2 or 3 days of preparation, they finally put their plan into action. Using underground tunnels, part of the team infiltrates the building, while others approach from above, silently bypassing security and moving toward Matrix's office. Before long, they are inside and begin taking down guards one after another. Their objective is not to kill Matrix immediately, but to capture him alive. They intend to interrogate him and force him to reveal details about his plans, weapon networks, and smuggling locations. While the team quietly advances through the building, Matrix remains relaxed, conducting a weapons deal and completely unaware of the danger approaching him. He has no idea that the people coming to take him away are already inside the building. Soon, the team cuts the power and plunges the entire facility into darkness. In the confusion, they systematically eliminate the remaining security personnel. After a fierce operation, they finally succeed in capturing Matrix and placing him in a vehicle. While being transported, Matrix mocks Captain Bob. "What's this? You brought children to catch me? You still have time to let me go. Do you really think you can enter my territory and take me away so easily? Just wait a little longer. You're not leaving here alive." Matrix is still boasting and threatening them when, suddenly, his security forces begin to make their move. Suddenly, several security helicopters arrive and fire a missile directly in front of the team's vehicle. The powerful explosion causes the vehicle to flip over violently. Later, everyone discovers that Matrix has a GPS tracker implanted in his body. By following the signal, his security forces were able to locate the team. The crash leaves all of the assassins seriously injured. Before Captain Bob can pick up a weapon and return fire, another missile is launched. The explosion throws Bob off a bridge and into the water below. Meanwhile, the remaining team members inside the vehicle are captured by the enemy. By the next morning, Matrix's men manage to track down Bob as well. However, they quickly learn why he is called Captain. Drawing his pistol, Bob takes down all 4 attackers in a matter of seconds. Afterward, he heads directly to his plane, where his friend George is already waiting for him. George shows him a video that Matrix has just sent. In the video, Bob's teammates are tied up and being held captive. Matrix delivers an ultimatum. If you don't arrive within 24 hours, all of your friends will die. After watching the message, Bob begins preparing to fight the enemy alone. George repeatedly advises him to call back his former teammates, because taking on Matrix's forces alone would be impossible. But Bob refuses to listen and continues assembling his weapons one by one. Just as he is about to leave in the plane, his old assassin team appears and blocks the runway. Seeing them, Bob finally realizes that taking them along is the right decision. The team boards the plane and sets off together. A few hours later, they land and continue their journey by vehicle. After traveling farther, they leave the vehicle behind and proceed through the jungle on foot. Following an exhausting 8-hour trek, they finally reach the area where their captured teammates are supposedly being held. The team carefully surveys the surroundings and approaches the building with caution. Once inside, they notice something strange. Equipment and supplies are scattered everywhere, but there are no guards, soldiers, or security personnel in sight. The silence immediately raises suspicion. Realizing that something is wrong, they waste no time and quickly free their captured teammates. At that moment, a nearby television suddenly switches on. Matrix appears on the screen and says, "You have only 40 minutes left. I've planted explosives throughout the entire building, so happy holidays, my friends. And if you somehow survive, perhaps we'll meet again." After hearing this message, a hacker on the team explains that he may be able to temporarily disable the bomb system. Using a specialized device, he immediately starts working on it and successfully locks the explosives within seconds. When Matrix learns what has happened, he orders his main forces into action. He wants to make sure that none of them escape alive. Following his command, thousands of militants are deployed toward the building. Helicopters begin delivering wave after wave of fighters into the area. At this point, it becomes clear that the mission is about to turn into a massive battle. Surrounded by overwhelming enemy numbers, the assassin team prepares for what may be the most dangerous fight of their lives. Inside the building, the team's hacker gathers everyone and makes an urgent announcement. The hacker tells the team, "We only have 25 minutes. This device can keep the bomb disabled for just 25 minutes. After that, it will automatically reactivate." Hearing this, the entire team is thrown into panic. Some of them even start arguing among themselves because they know there is almost no way they can defeat such a massive force within in 25 minutes, especially with a bomb set to explode afterward. At this critical moment, Captain Bob calms everyone down and says, "We're all going to die anyway, so why waste time fighting each other? We only have two choices, either die or fight. We'll worry about the rest later." With that, a fierce battle erupts between the militants and the assassins. The team takes defensive positions and begins eliminating the enemy one by one. They successfully deal with the first wave of around 50 to 60 militants. The real problem begins when tanks positioned outside the building start launching missiles at it. Soon, missile after missile crashes into the structure. Despite the overwhelming bombardment, the assassins somehow continue fighting. Realistically, a small squad defeating thousands of enemies would be nearly impossible in real life. But this is an action movie, and the battle continues on an enormous scale. As the bombardment intensifies, the team becomes separated. Some are thrown into craters, while others are scattered across different parts of the building. Just when it seems that all hope is lost, a helicopter arrives as backup. The pilot is none other than George, Captain Bob's closest friend. Meanwhile, the militants become increasingly desperate and even bring motorcycles into the fight to hunt down the assassins. With reinforcements now on their side, the team's morale rises dramatically. The helicopters begin mowing down enemy fighters outside with heavy machine gun fire. Watching the situation unfold from his headquarters, Matrix is stunned. Despite commanding thousands of fighters, his forces are being pushed back by a handful of elite operatives. The assassins launch their own individual attacks across the battlefield. One team member even steals an enemy motorcycle and rides straight into combat. The battle sequence is massive and filled with non-stop action. It stretches on for so long that describing every moment would take nearly as much time as watching the movie itself. At the same time, an aerial battle breaks out as helicopters clash in the sky. After hours of fighting, Captain Bob orders all of his teammates to move to the rooftop. The timer on the explosives is nearly finished, and the RDX charges planted throughout the building are about to detonate. Following the order, the team battles its way through the remaining enemies and reaches the roof. But before Bob can join them, Matrix suddenly shoots him. By now, Matrix's pride has been badly wounded. His massive army has been humiliated by a small team of operatives. As a result, a brutal hand-to-hand fight breaks out between Bob and Matrix. At the same time, the explosives are already active and could detonate at any moment. Knowing there is no time left, Bob quickly draws his pistol and finally ends Matrix's reign once and for all. With Matrix defeated, Bob immediately tries to escape the collapsing building. However, the main structure has already begun to crumble around him. Fighting against time and destruction, Bob struggles to escape from the jaws of death as the building collapses behind him. Bob finally manages to make his way out of the collapsing building. Running at full speed, he somehow reaches the helicopter just in time. With that, the team successfully completes the mission and escapes safely. Later that night, the team gathers to celebrate their victory with a party. And with that, the story comes to an end. The narrator concludes by saying, "Friends, if you enjoyed this story, be sure to check out my other videos as well. Thank you very much for watching."